The Sunrise Movement is, to me, a fascinating story in climate funding because it did not really have any. And that's a big exaggeration. They did have some. One of the early funders was a foundation called the Wallace Global Fund, which was also one of the big funders of the divestment movement. And some of these kids from the divestment movement went to Wallace Global and said, hey, we want to transform the US economy. Will you give us some money to do that? And Wallace Global was like, sure. And not many other people did that. So I talked to Will Lawrence, who's the development director, in December, and he said, before they got famous, they did not have a lot of funders kind of lining up at their door. And the way he put it to me was, we're trying to create a proposal to transform the US economy. How am I supposed to go to a foundation and say, this is my proposal? And then they're going to say, okay, well, what are your quarterly deliverables you're going to give me on that? And then, and then also, how sure are you that you can do that? Do you are you going to make my money worthwhile? And to which he would say, absolutely not. I can't do any of that. Sunrise Movement gets no money. So this is where I think, this is a really good example, I think, of how, one, I guess I would be really interested to see what climate philanthropy would look like if it was supporting the kind of activity that Sunrise does. Which a lot of times doesn't get anything really sexy or strategic done, but every once in a while creates a social movement that changes the country. And now we have this policy that has completely transformed the way we talk about climate change. It's phenomenal. And then the other thing is it raises the question of what would philanthropy look like if it was supporting the kinds of solutions that Sunrise was after. So instead of going for something that industry will agree to, what if they went for something that actually would get us to 1.5 degrees. And I think that that's such a big risk, and it's kind of, when you think about it, a little bit of a waste of money if you don't know. So I see why they do it, because they want to get results. But with that laser focus on results, I think they sometimes don't swing for the fences.